Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. Hope all of you have been doing amazing in giving yourself love and attention and kindness and forgiveness, and knowing that when you give yourself these things, you are instantly receiving it from yourself. There's something that's very important to note, and it's just been something that's been on my mind. It's been this idea. We've been in this world where so much it seems like we're keeping for ourselves, where we're trying to hoard things for ourselves, but in fact it's really hoarding things that we don't necessarily have. It's like we're trying to hoard that kindness, that peace, and that forgiveness out into the world, but in fact we haven't given that to ourselves. And that's why we hoard it, that's why we hide it, that's why we don't extend it. But there's also this fear that we hold that if we do extend it, then maybe we worth nothing. It's like if we extend our love, then maybe we'll get rejected. If we extend our energy, then maybe it wouldn't be appreciated. But the thing is, giving is receiving in this world. Giving is receiving, and just in general, it's something that just continues to perpetuate. And what we need to notice is that when we restrain ourselves from opening up, then we see a world that is restrictive and closed, and people that really aren't being vulnerable and opening themselves up. We are giving that to the world. We're giving that as what we want to focus our attention on. And it's time to shift that. It's time to start giving ourselves the things that we desire. Start giving people kindness, start giving people joy and love and forgiveness, and knowing that that will be instantly received back. You will instantly see that as you start to go throughout the world. You'll start seeing people smiling more. You start seeing people being more kind and being more gentle with themselves and others, and with you. But the first part of this giving to receive is giving to yourself. Giving to yourself so much that it starts to overflow. And when you give that love to yourself, when you give that forgiveness, that kindness, that peace, that acceptance, that allowance, when you give all that to yourself, you are instantly receiving it. You feel the energy as if you are receiving it. It's something that's incredible, and it feels incredible, and you want that feeling. You want that feeling. These things in the world may mean other things. These things may be very nice as they appear in the world, but it's really the feeling. It's really the life. It's the experience of joy that we want to feel in our lives. So give that to yourself in whatever way you know how to do that. I don't know what your circumstances, I don't know what your situation is or what's happening in your life, but I do know that you can bring yourself joy. You know yourself better than anyone in this entire world. You know what can bring you happiness or a smile on your face, at least for a moment. Give yourself those moments. Give yourself forgiveness and kindness, and say, yeah, that's not necessarily what I want to do anymore. And even though I did it just now, I forgive myself. I'm allowing myself that opportunity to not beat myself up over that, what I feel I no longer want to move towards. This happens all the time. We try to move towards a goal, something that we truly desire, and we get down on ourselves when we find ourselves maybe going back to old habits or going back to old situations that don't serve us. It's not something that we need to feel bad about. That's another lesson within this life. It's how can we forgive ourselves? How can we love ourselves unconditionally, to where it doesn't matter success or failure, or however you want to judge it. You will still love yourself. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. Are you going to love yourself in the end? Are you going to give yourself love in the end? Giving is receiving. You will feel that. You will know that. You will experience it. And that is something that is incredible. That is something that is incredibly powerful. And each and every day you can choose that. Each and every moment you can choose what you want to give in that moment. Do I want to give anger? Do I want to give hostility? Do I want to give rejection? Or do I want to give peace, compassion, love, joy? Because it's really asking, what do I want to receive? A few months, actually almost a year ago now, I was in a completely different situation financially, and I had maybe $7 in change that I had for getting some gas, and I was going to a job interview, and I knew that I had to put that much in my car at least in order for me to get to that area for the job interview. And you know, I was just like really holding on to it. And there was this guy, he was houseless, and he came up to me, and he was like really not doing okay because, you know, like his phone was lost, his wallet was gone, and he was really just trying to get all of this stuff recovered, but he didn't have a mailbox. So he was using, I mean, the whole situation was kind of intense, but all he needed was a ride to this place that was just down the road. But I knew that, you know, if I had put this money in my gas tank and then went to drive him around, I would maybe not even make it to the job interview. But it felt right. It felt right to do that. You know, it's like not all opportunities or all things in our lives that come across our experience is something right for us to do, but when you feel it, then act on it. And this felt right. So I did. And we drove to actually more than one place, so my gas was like almost completely expended. And the last place that he wanted us to drive was to this mechanic shop where a pastor lived. And we show up, and he goes out of the car and, you know, like talks to him for a few moments, and then asks him for money, apparently, for me to get gas in my car to go to my interview. And the pastor, you know, happily comes over, introduces themselves, and gives me like $15 for gas. It was more than what I had before, and it got me to that job interview. I didn't actually get that job, but that job wasn't meant for me. And as I look around right now, I'm in a vastly different place, and this was like just over a year ago. And I didn't know how that giving would come back to me, but I realized more and more that there are so many situations that happen in our lives that it is as a direct result of what we were giving. And know that even though you may not be able to see it, the things that you were giving in love and kindness and joy and peace, those things will come back to you. They will come back to you. And we don't have to do things because we want that outcome, because you may give all the money that you have to some kind of foundation expecting it to come back to you, and you lay in bed at night and you're like, okay, where's the money? It's not going to work like that when we're trying to use it to expect something. But when you do it knowing that you'll be well at the end, that it's the feeling of doing something right. It's feeling of doing something right for yourself. It doesn't have to be giving money to someone else. It could be giving attention to yourself, and knowing that doing that is something that will help to reinforce that foundation within yourself, so that we start to believe in ourselves, so that we start to recognize that we are worth that attention, we are worth that love, we are worth that respect and value and understanding. But first it starts with us. It starts with us giving that to ourselves. And then it'll just naturally start to happen in the world. Things will start to come to you in incredible ways. And we may not know the ways, just like I didn't know how I was going to fill up my gas tank. You know, I just knew that everything will be okay. The world works in mysterious ways, and that it's very, very beautiful, but we have to allow it to happen and know that the feelings that we have are very valid, and it's important for us to cater to the ones that feel best for us. So if there's a thought that doesn't feel good, yet it permeates your mind, then allow yourself to think about the opposite of that. What does it feel like to think something else? What would it feel like to look at this from another perspective, a perspective that feels better for me? And if it's something that's so heavy that you can't do that just yet, then just stop thinking about it. Try to direct your attention elsewhere. Watch a show, listen to some music, do something. But when you give your attention to that thing, then that is what you will receive. It works in all these different levels. So give what you want to give. Give your attention to where you want to receive that same. And as we do that more and more with ourselves, like giving ourselves all those things that we desire for ourselves, all those feelings, all those thoughts, all those beliefs that feel good for us, after we start filling ourselves up with that, then we can start giving it to the world in a way that it's very effortless. And then you get it right back. Like every time I do this podcast, there's something that happens like at the end of it where I feel more like energetic. I feel more energized. I feel really good. You know, it's like it's really insane how much more and more we can experience joy and gratitude and peace. You know, it's like it is never ending. And it's not until we start moving on that journey where we start believing that that's even possible, where we stop putting limitations on the happiness that we're able to experience in life. So many times I've come across people that believe that struggle is necessary for life, and that's just ridiculous. Why would we choose to believe something like that? It doesn't feel good to think about that. That no matter what, we have to experience hardships. Now, I'm not saying that there are things that the world would judge as being, very not good. But I'm saying that it doesn't mean that it has to be at the detriment of our happiness. It doesn't have to be a situation that moves us outside of where we want to be. So allow yourself to even believe outside of the boundaries of what this world has told you to believe, and start believing in the possibility of something greater, something more, something that feels good. And start with yourself. Start giving that to yourself. Start giving those beliefs. Reinforce that within yourself, and then it will come out in the world. It will be experienced in the world, and it will start happening very fast, and it will happen over and over again. The feeling just keeps multiplying. There are so many things that just keep expanding. It's like it's endless, and it feels really good when we start focusing on wanting to feel really good. When you give your attention in that direction, that is what you will receive. It is instantaneous. You can do it for yourself now. Give your attention towards making a sandwich, and make that sandwich. Give your attention to the thought of making a sandwich, and it's almost instant. Yeah, I'm thinking of a sandwich. The thing is, even though we may not be able to test those things in the world, the instant manifestations of giving something and then receiving it in return, the feeling is something that we can feel right now, and that is what will bring us that actual manifestation of it. And it may not seem like that is factual. It may not seem like that's something it may not seem like that's how the world works. It may not seem like that's how this life works, but it is. And it's in that constant feeling of it, of having it, and not in the lack of it. It's in the feeling of having it that will bring it to you. Because if you're feeling that you don't have it, that you're lacking it, that you need to attain it, then it will always be something that you need to attain. It will always be something that you need to work for, or try for, or strive for. Yeah, I'm working really hard on my happiness. I'm working really hard on my business. I'm working really hard to make this family and relationship work. I'm working really hard towards that. I mean, it doesn't really sound like a fun thing to do. When we start giving our attention towards maybe saying, I'm moving my attention towards giving love and kindness and peace and value to myself, and this is what I want to project to others. This is what I want to give to others. And if there are certain situations that no longer serve me, then I will give myself the validation of knowing that I can make a different choice. Just like I'm making a different choice within the things I'm thinking, the things that I'm believing. I can make a different choice in the things that I'm doing in this life. So allow yourself that ability to do that. Allow yourself the ability to expand and know that you can do anything that you want to. You can have anything that you want to. You can experience the life that you want to. But you first have to give yourself that option. You have to give yourself that space. The analogy I always love is the snake in a cage. It's like, how big is the vessel that you're keeping the snake, because it will only grow to that size. Give yourself a bigger cage. Let yourself out, free into the world, cageless, and see how much you grow, because you will grow, and you will keep growing, and you will keep growing. But you have to give yourself that allowance in order for you to receive it. This goes so much bigger than our day-to-day lives. The things that come into our lives, like money or houses or cars or material things or a job that we really like, it's much bigger than that. It's really transforming the way that we move in this life to where we can live each day in happiness, where we can live each day in joy, knowing that there's no divisiveness or struggle that we have to have in this life. We can be ourselves. We can live this life and be happy and joyous within it. But it's by giving ourselves that opportunity for us to receive it. Give yourself peace on earth. Give yourself that mindset. Give yourself that belief. and allow yourself to receive it. Allow yourself to commune with others just naturally that are also on that same path. And there will be a change. Giving to receive, it's something that it's a symbiotic relationship that we have on all levels of existence, on the entire beingness that we are. We are one, and that's why this giving is receiving, because what's being given, what's being received, and where's this going? It's all going to the same place, because it's all being given from the same place. And before I go kind of too heady on this, I just want to bring it back to this concept of give that which you wish to receive, and start with yourself. Always start with yourself. Never forget yourself in that process. Give to yourself love. Give to yourself compassion, joy, respect, value. Give yourself peace. Give it to yourself always, always. And when anger starts to arise, or frustration, or sadness, ask yourself, what do I want to give my attention to? And it's a practice. There are beliefs that we've been giving our attention to a very long time. So allow yourself the patience and the peace of moving towards it gently, and you will see a transformation happen, I promise you. And it will feel really good. Life will feel really good. It just will. And I'm so thankful for you experiencing that. So that's all I have for this episode. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything you'd like to share, you can send that to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join any of the social media groups: Instagram, everything.sunpodcast, Twitter, @everysunpodcast, the Facebook group @everysunpodcast, and the YouTube page, Everything Under the Sun Podcast. And that's all I got. Love you all, and I will talk to you soon.